New World is a 2013 South Korean epic crime film written and directed by Park Hoon-jung. An undercover cop infiltrates a Korean crime syndicate in the first scene of the film. He becomes embroiled in the succession struggle after the organization's leader dies in an unexplained accident. Subtly masquerading as a respectable business, Gold Moon is Korea's largest criminal organization. Chairman Sok, who successfully brought together different criminal clans under Gold Moon, is in charge of it. A number of charges against him were recently dropped. This leads him to the realization that his group might be a target of a police operation involving a spy. They are all being hunted down by Joseon and his men, who are high-ranking members of the organization. To obtain a confession, they kidnap a possible member and subject him to torture. Because they can't coax a confession out of him, they murder him and then throw his corpse into the water in a barrel. Chairman Sok, in the meantime, is returning from the residence of his mistress. A truck suddenly approaches at an intersection and strikes the automobile. The emergency unit manages to arrive in time and brings Chairman Sok to the hospital. The news about it immediately circulated, and the whole organization assembled at the hospital. Joseon meets with Jong-gu there, one of the three senior leaders under Chairman Sok. He then rushes to the airport to welcome the other leader, Chung, who just arrived back from Shanghai. Chung is a somewhat quirky man, yet he views Joseon as his close friend, as they have known each other for a long time. On the way to the hospital, Chung gives Joseon a watch as a gift to commemorate his wife's pregnancy. But Joseon rejected the gift because it's a fake brand and mocked him for buying it. Being an eccentric guy, he lashes his displeasure at his subordinate for informing him that it appears real. All of the organization leaders have assembled at the hospital to wait for the procedure result. The physicians come out of the surgery room and announce that Chairman Sok has passed away. The news makes Jong-gu upset with the doctor and leaves the others perplexed as the organization's future becomes uncertain. On the next day, they arranged a beautiful burial service to express their last respect to Chairman Sok. The cops also show up there to undertake surveillance, which angers Jong-gu. He confronts them and breaks their camera. Chief Kang, a police chief leading the investigation against Gold Moon, comes to support his subordinate. Jong-gu backs out and pays them for the broken camera. Back at the police headquarters, the higher-ups are discussing the controversial factions vying for succession after the death of Chairman Sok. Gold Moon is a combination of the Yebong clan, Jeol clan, and Nufmoon clan. Three individuals will likely take the available seat of Gold Moon's new chairman. The first candidate is Chung, endorsed by the Northmoon clan and has deep contacts with the Triads and regularly runs firms outside Korea. The second contender is Jong-gu, endorsed by the most significant Yebong clan and close to Chairman Seok. These two contenders are the most likely to fill the vacant seat, as they are the most prominent leaders at the organization. The last candidate is Suki, backed by the Jeol clan. But Suki is elderly, and his power is unlikely to rival the other two candidates. The cops seek to influence the succession process to bring them down. Joseon is playing a board game with an unknown lady. He tells her about the impending board meeting scheduled in 2 days to address the succession process. Suddenly, he grows upset and heads to an abandoned building to meet a particular person. That individual is Chief Kang. Joseon turns out to be an undercover cop that infiltrates the Gold Moon Syndicate, and the mysterious lady earlier is his handler. He has progressed through levels over the past 8 years and has achieved the 5th rank in command, just under the 3 top leaders in Chairman Sok. He is upset at Chief Kang since he promised him that his job would be done after they took care of Chairman Sok. But his handler told him that now he needs to aid the mission to influence the succession process. He is also upset since somehow Chief Kang learns that his wife is pregnant and presents him. That suggests that someone is following him without him knowing. He feels frustrated by the circumstances, but he has no other choice. 2 days later, they held the board meeting as planned. They resolved to fit a vote session next week to pick the next chairman. As planned, 2 opposing camps form between Chung and Jong-gu. Joseon is closer to Chung, but he does not publicly back anyone. he walks back to the vehicle park with Chung. Chung tells him that he needs to go back to Shanghai for business soon and wants him to care after his office, so Jong-gu can't do anything while away. Suddenly, a car appears and almost runs them over. It turns out to be Jong-gu trying to toy with them and then drives away. Chun then invites Jae-sun to make a mini-feast to honor his wife's pregnancy. Jae-sun then goes to his handler to transmit more intel. He asks her about the details of the task, as his life is in the line, but the handler can't share the information with him as the protocol mandates. Jae-sun merely needs to do as he is instructed, which makes him upset. Even his buddies and the syndicates trust him more than the other police do. Just before he leaves, he tells her that Chun will leave the nation tomorrow afternoon. Meanwhile, Jong-gu invites the other leader to his office and tries to frighten them into supporting him. On the next day, Jae-sun escorts Chun to the airport. He learns that several undercover cops are monitoring them there. He doesn't know what is going to happen, which makes him uneasy. Just after Chun passes the security gate, some police officer rushes to him and takes him away. He meets with Chief Kang in an interrogation room adjacent. Chief Kang shows him a file about the Gold Moon Inquiry report. Chung noticed that the file has certain internal data that can only be retrieved if the police still had some spies within the organization. But to his astonishment, Chief Kang recommends a plan to take down Jong-gu jointly, so Chung may easily seize the empty chairman job. Chief Kang tells him to think about it over his flight. Just before Chung leaves, he wonders how the cops know that he will fly to Shanghai today. On the plane, he directs his lawyer to run a background investigation on Chief Kang and hire a hitman gang to clean the moles inside the company. After that, Chief Kang takes his troops to make a move. Jong-gu and his staff are in the middle of breakfast when suddenly the cops barge into the eatery. Chief Khan presents him the court-certified warrant and takes him away. Just before they leave, Jong-gu queries if Chung has sold him out, which Chief Kang answers vaguely. Chung learns the news of the arrest and promptly schedules a meeting with Jong-gu and flies back to Korea. When he arrives in Korea, he rushes straight to meet Jong-gu and have some heated conversation, which ends with Jong-gu warning him. But Chung argues that the one leaking the information was not him. Chung then travels to meet with Chief Kang secretly in an empty stadium. He gives him a box full of mooncakes as a show of thanks. Chief Kang checks the present and finds bundles of money within the mooncake. Chung hopes that it might smooth things out for his future business with his help. He declines it and throws them on the floor. Jae-sun brings his wife to an obstetrician to monitor her pregnancy. On the way back, his wife gets a call and receives it in private. It turns out that it's from Chief Kang, asking her about Jae-sun. She spies on his husband behind him for Chief Kang. Like her husband, she believes that this espionage assignment has caused a lot of stress, thus she wants to quit. She also feels more loyal to her spouse now, as he is the one who got her out of his unhappy old life. The background check result on Chief Kang has finally arrived. Not only information about Chief Kang, but the Chinese hacker Chung hired manages to gain classified information about the complete espionage project. The file he reads surprises Chung. Meanwhile, the hitman crew that Chung employs has arrived in Korea. They are a famous Chinese hitman organization, dubbed the Yanbian Hobos. Jae-sun unexpectedly contacts Chung, wondering about his sudden arrival in Korea. Chung appears friendly as normal, then invites him to meet him in a warehouse because he has a unique surprise. Jae-sun has a nasty sensation, yet he can't decline it. The Yanbian Hobos make their initial move. From the hacked information, they determine the identity of Jae-sun's handler and visit her. She fights back, but the Yanbian Hobos manage to get her alive. Jae-sun arrives at the warehouse and steps inside with his faithful subordinate, Soo-kyung. Chung orders him to open a barrel to acquire the gift that Chung promised on the phone before. Jae-sun gingerly approaches the barrel and opens it. To his amazement, he discovers his handler inside, stripped to her underwear and all bloody. Chung says that the lady within the barrel, whom Jae-sun often visits to play chess and transmit intelligence, is a spy. Jae-sun sweats profusely as Chung hands him the mission dossier with complete details of the relevant personnel. Chung has one final surprise for him and urges him to flip the file to the last page. Just before he manages to read the final page, Chung grabs a shovel and savagely beats Soo-kyung. Unknown to Ja-sun, his most loyal subordinate in the group is also an undercover officer. Chung manages to discover all the spies around Ja-sun and eliminates them as a gift for him. This confuses Ja-sun since, although Chung has the mission file, somehow he doesn't know his real identity. Chung tells the Yanbian hobos to have some fun with the handler's body, causing Ja-sun to take a gun and shoot her to save her from what the Yanbian hobos will do to her. Meanwhile, Chief Kang goes to the prison to visit Jong-gu. He shows Jong-gu images of Chung and him, making Jong-gu think that Chung is the one who sold him. Jong-gu then urges his soldiers to do a little vengeance to Chung. On the next day, Ja-sun goes to Chief Kang to discuss the problem. Chief Kang tells him that their system is hacked and all of the classified material has been leaked. Ja-sun frantically wants to pull out of the assignment, but suddenly Soo-kyung, the organization's third head, appears. Chief Kang has agreed to help him gain the chairman's post so the police can control the organization from within. Chief Kang threatens to publicize Ja-sun's name, causing him not to have other choices but to pursue the plot, although Chief Kang has agreed to pull him out. Jong-gu's soldiers make their move and arrange an attack on Chung. Despite being outnumbered, he manages to give the attacker a hard time. He is stuck inside an elevator full of Jong-gu's soldiers. He takes them down, but it leaves him seriously injured. The cops come and bring the wounded to the hospital. Jong-gu's men also try to get Ja-sun's wife, but the police are already waiting for them. Unfortunately, the shock makes his wife have a miscarriage. The doctor tells Ja-sun that his wife's stress level has harmed the pregnancy. Ja-sun hears about what happened to Chung and travels to the hospital. His situation is bad. Chung wants to talk with his best friend for the last time. He advises him to select a side for his own good, implying that he knows Ja-sun's identity. Just before Chung goes away, he tells Ja-sun that he left a present in his office safe. The organization then performed its second funeral this month, sending out one of the succession prospects. With Chung's death and Jong-gu imprisoned in the prison, Suki's ascension seems to be a smooth ride. Ja-sun walks to Chung's office and finds his file inside the safe. He also finds a watch, a present that Chung promised, but it is not a fake brand this time. He discovers that Chung is truly his true best buddy, but he realizes it too late. On the voting day, Suki asks Ja-sun to ride with him to the board meeting, but soon they head to an isolated spot with a number of Suki guys surrounding them. It emerges clear that Suki plans to breach his agreement with the police and eliminate Ja-sun. But instead of Ja-sun, they beat Suki. The departure of Chung and Jong-gu makes Ja-sun the most prominent individual in the organization. Meanwhile, the police release Jong-gu that day. He gets to his office to find out that Ja-sun's men are already waiting for him. They then hurl him down the building, eliminating him. Ja-sun also sends the Yandian hobo to eradicate the other leader, supporting Suki and Chief Kang, who has continually broken his vows. He is done playing spy for the police, sacrificing so many things. He decides to take his new role as the chairman of the Gold Moon Crime Syndicate, enjoying his life as a free man under his own will.